Hello folks, welcome back to Popular Music. This week we're going to be talking about the outsiders, progressive country, reggae, salsa, punk, and rap of the 1970s. As always folks, you can find this slide presentation on our Google Classroom if you wish to go through it at your own pace. Alright, let's begin. So, I'm not going to read everything on each slide. Quite frankly, that would be really boring. But I will hit on the important parts and the important people of the 1970s. So this is the outsiders music, the outlaws of the music world in this time period. Okay, they're not the mainstream. So we get the progressive country music, which was this kind of took old traditions and playing in this new style. So progressive country music, was inspired by the honky-tonk and rockabilly amalgam of Bakersfield country music, the singer-songwriter genre, and the country rock style of musicians like Graham Parsons. Some of the most famous progressive country musicians we have are Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings. As you can see, we have Willie Nelson here on the right. Okay, and a couple of songs from these folks. We get Red-Headed Stranger. Okay, it's a country concept album that was developed in the mid-1970s where progressive country musicians began to create albums that unified around a single theme or dramatic characters. This album sold over 2 million copies, which is amazing, and the final track of the album was called Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. It was unaccompanied, just the acoustic guitar, okay, electric guitar, mandolin. Sorry, it wasn't unaccompanied, it was accompanied. There was more than one instrument playing, okay, which was very unconventional, and it was highly recognized in terms of its vocals. And as soon as this song came on, even to this day, if you ask your parents, they would most likely know this song, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. Then we get the reggae style. I Shot the Sheriff, right? I shot the sheriff, boom, but I didn't shoot the deputy. Reggae style, okay, it's a potent mixture of both Caribbean music as well as African and American styles of blues and R&B. Okay, the first style of rock, this was the first style of rock, of the rock era, to originate in the Third World. So in the Caribbean, in Africa, and especially in Jamaica. We also get new genres that emerged, out of this style of music. Sorry, something in my eye, folks. That emerged out of the intersection between the Jamaican folk style music and American R&B. That is ska music. Okay. Ska, the word ska is an onomatopoeia. Okay. Turning a sound into a word. It's got a lot of sharp offbeats accents, and it uses a lot of brass, guitar, bass, piano, your typical rock band form, but with some brass and some saxophones mixed in there as well. We also get the rock steady genre. Okay, it's a slower tempo, slower than ska, but similar in terms of style. Okay, and we've got the main figure of our reggae style of music, and that is, we got two of them, Jimmy Cliff, okay, and Bob Marley. Now, Bob Marley's son, Ziggy Marley, also is a reggae musician. Bob Marley unfortunately died in 1981 from cancer that he actually got in his foot, which then metastasized and traveled throughout his body. Okay, this new style of reggae music coming out in the late 1960s, okay, just so you're aware, the word reggae, okay, is derived from the term reggae, which is a slang term for raggedy, okay, everyday stuff. Tempo of this new style of reggae is slow, okay, and it's more of that rock steady, laid back rock feeling. Okay, with lots of spaces between notes, and it has its roots based in Afro-Jamaican traditions. Okay, we get this term rhythms, which are the interlocking rhythmic patterns played by the guitar, bass, and drums. And a lot of the lyrics portray political messages that were very central to this idea and the theme of reggae music itself. Like I said, we've got two stars, Jimmy Cliff, excuse me, as well as Bob Marley. Okay, and Bob Marley really popularized the reggae style of music. Now we have the rise of salsa music, coming from Latin America and from Central America. Okay, American influence appeared in salsa music to wane during the early 1970s, and most Latin musicians returned to the típico, or the traditional sound of Cuban dance music, which is rooted in the son montuno form. Now, what is salsa music? Well, salsa music is rhythmically charged, harmonically advanced style in the dance clubs of New York. Salsa, or what we call hot sauce, okay, is a verbal metaphor for the intensity, the passion, and the rhythmic flow of the music. The origins of salsa, okay, are extended from the Latin ballroom dance music, Afro-Cuban styles of music, the rumba drumming, and actually coming from modern jazz music as well. That swing feeling can sometimes be felt in salsa music. Here are some of the more famous musicians of the salsa music genre scene. We have Eddie Palmieri, Willie Colon, okay, as well as Charlie Palmieri, who is Eddie's brother, okay, from Puerto Rico. Very, very influential musicians. And then, like I said, Willie Colon, who grew up in Boogaloo, the Boogaloo era. It was less influenced by the Cuban traditional style, the Típico style, and more influenced from the West African style of music. Okay, we also have Hector Lavoe and Ruben Blades. Okay, and just a couple of things to listen to. Ruben Blades, okay, he's still alive today. Very great musician. Okay, take a listen to the song titled, okay, Pedro Navaja. Pedro Navaja. Okay, it was written by Blades. Okay, and it was performed by Willie Colon and Blades and recorded in 1977. Okay, it was an homage to the Mac the Knife, which tells the story of the violent demise of a street tough guy who attacks, unfortunately, a sex worker, a prostitute. Okay, this arrangement is sophisticated. Lots of musical frameworks, musical styles here, and we get a lot of that call and response happening. Okay, now we're coming into the punk, the new wave music of the 1970s, and we get the song Psycho Killer, which many of you probably know. Okay, the genres, the style emerged in rock music in the 1970s. We get punk rock and the new wave. Punk rock, okay, this rebellious type style of music, and the new wave approach to rock music is very artistic and experimental, very much like the avant-garde movement in jazz. Okay, punk as much as cultural style, okay, with an attitude that is defined by rebellion against authority, and its very deliberate rejection of the middle class values that are imposed upon society at this time. We also get the advent of the garage band. Okay, a neighborhood operation made up of many young musicians who literally are playing in their garages. There are many groups who form these high school bands who play in garages who then become famous. And one such group that I can think of in our modern time is Nickelback. Okay, they grew up in very small town Hanna in Alberta. Okay, they started out as a garage band, formed a band in high school, and then became famous. Okay, we have a few musicians. Okay, we've got this Velvet Underground scene with Lou Reed, okay, and John Cale. We also get the Stooges, Iggy Pop, very famous for his outrageous stage performances, which included flinging himself into the crowd, okay, He also cut himself with broken bottles, and he often did weird things like rubbed raw meat all over his body. Very weird. Okay, we also get the New York Dolls, which was composed by Patti Smith. Okay, she is a New York-based poet, journalist, and singer. Okay, who established the CBGBs as beachhead for punk and new wave bands, and recorded the critically acclaimed album Horses. We also get the Ramones coming out in this time. Okay, they're the first punk rock band, bona fide, true punk rock band, formed in 1974 in New York City. Okay, we get the Talking Heads, who was led by David Byrne. Okay, with Chris Frantz and Tina Weymouth, coming also from New York. Okay, we get this style of minimalism in music. Not so many notes, very laid back punk feeling. Okay. And now we come to the end of rock and roll with the band, the group, the Sex Pistols. Okay, who formed in 1975. They come from the United Kingdom, from London, and they are truly the most outrageous and most famous punk band ever. People still listen to them today. They are still played on the radio to this day. Okay, we've got also Johnny Rotten. Okay, we've got Sid Vicious, who really, I truly wish Sid Vicious was still around. Okay, a great guitar player, great musician. Okay, he unfortunately died from a drug overdose. Yeah, really unfortunate. Yeah. And he wasn't a great person either. Just so you're aware, great musician, not a very good person. Okay, he killed his girlfriend, and then he was released on bail from jail and overdosed. Okay, so I would like you to take a listen to the song "Psycho Killer." Okay, it's performed by David Byrne. So it's performed, remember, by David Byrne, Chris Frantz, Tina Weymouth. Okay, by the Talking Heads. It's a very famous song, and I can almost guarantee that you have heard it somewhere. It's played in a lot of films. Okay, and it was inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's movie Psycho. Okay, it was released in 1977. There was this famous murderer who was going around called the Son of Sam. Okay, and terrible timing, but perfect for the punk rock scene, music scene. Okay, the music came out during this killing, this time where this serial killer was around in 1977. It featured the electric bass. Okay, the guitar was very crisp, and Byrne's voice was also in it, where his lyrics they're not quite fully spoken. It's kind of hard to understand. They're half in this style of half sung. Okay, where the melody is played by the guitar is being played along with him. Okay, we also get funk music. Tear the roof off the sucker, which is a term that was used often in this time period. Okay, funk music represented another back to basics style, right? We want to dance again. People wanted to dance again, and funk music allowed people to do that. And the idea of funk music really came about in African American communities, in the hearts of inner city, urban inner city communities, where a lot of African American communities were built and developed, especially in the major cities. Okay, funky, the word itself, probably we think most likely derived from the Central African Bakongo term funky, which means healthy sweat, right? Which was used by New Orleans jazz musicians, this funky style. Okay, healthy sweat, to get people moving, to get people dancing and sweating, right? The healthy sweat is when you're moving and you're exercising and you're dancing. In the 1970s, funk was used as a label for a genre of popular music, which was characterized by strong, like I said, dance-oriented rhythms, catchy melodies that people could go home humming. The idea of the call and response, right? So one section of the band would play something, another section would respond to what that previous section played, and it would just go back and forth between different sections of the band. Okay. There's a heavy reliance on repeated and rhythmically interlocking patterns. So the rhythm is repeated over and over again, which gives it that real that kind of like funky dance tune. All right, so we've got a few bands. Sly and the Family Stone, very influential funk music band, music group. Okay. They mixed interracial psychedelic soul, okay, with some traditional rock and soul music. Sly Stone, okay, was the band leader. Started his career in the church as a gospel singer, and then he studied trumpet and a lot of music theory and composition in college, and then got a job as a disc jockey, which then inspired him to create this new style of funk music and to bring this group together. Excuse me. Okay, we've got the peak of this period, the Funkadelic period. Okay. George Clinton, okay, was also known as Dr. Frankenstein. He was an ex-R&B vocal musician. Okay, lived a very hippie lifestyle, and created this group of musicians called the Parliament or Funkadelic, the Parliament or the Funkadelic group. And this is made up of 40 different musicians that would often come and go and play together in different venues and different scenes. And they came up with a song, right? Give Up the Funk, or Tear the Roof Off the Sucker. Okay, this was the Parliament's biggest crossover song. Okay, and it exemplified the band's approach to the idea of P-Funk, Parliament funk. Okay, now we're going to move into hip-hop. So we got the song Rapper's Delight that we're going to focus on. Okay, so rap was characterized as a vital link in the chain between the culture of the time and the musical connections between both Africa and the Americas. Okay, this is the authentic voice of an oppressed urban underclass, not the middle class, but the lowest class, this underclass of people in the urban centers, in the major cities, especially in the United States. Okay, and this type of music was developed as a form of music that exploits the long-standing stereotypes of black people or African American people in North America, especially in the United States. So hip-hop and hip-hop culture, like I said, is forged by African American people, Puerto Rican people, and Caribbean American young people starting in New York City. Okay, it included distinctive styles of visual art, which we now call graffiti, dance styles like breakdancing, okay, different styles of music, different styles of clothing and dress, as well as the way people spoke, really reflected this genre of hip-hop and rap. Okay, Rapper's Delight. We've got a few groups and DJs who really celebrated this style of music and really were able to create this hip-hop genre. So we've got Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash is really big and well known at this time. We've got Africa Mbambata. And as you can see here, we've got Grandmaster Flash, who is a really, really great DJ, really good at mixing and overdubbing different sounds. Okay, this was in 2007. Okay, one of the main sources of rhymes composed by early hip-hop DJs in the Bronx was from the album Hustlers Convention in 1973 by Jala Rudin, who was a leader of a militant group of ex-convicts known as the Last Poets. Okay, Grandmaster Flash, he adopted the mixing techniques of disco DJs particularly the use of headphones to synchronize the tempos of recordings, to bring two different recordings together, synchronize them into the exact same tempo so that both could be played at the same time. And really made it easy to dance to. And he coined the term, along with his kind of understudy, his protege, Theodore, this idea of scratching records, giving that sound. I can't do it justice. That was really awful. You can laugh. It's okay. But they termed that, or coined the term scratching, being able to take the needle on a record player and scratching it along the surface of the record, giving this kind of scratch sound. Okay, so the song, Rapper's Delight, it was a dance single that was recorded by the Sugar Hill Gang, okay, who was based out of an inner city neighborhood called Harlem in New York. Okay, the record was popularized the use of the term rapper as an equivalent of the MC. Okay, it was produced by Sugar Hill Records. The recording recycled Chic's Good Times Rhythm Section track from Chic's album. There were 3 rappers on this album. Okay, we've got Michael or Wonder Mike Wright, Guy O'Brien, we call them, or Guy O'Brien maybe, or Master Guy. Henry Jackson, okay, Big Bang Hank. These were these guys, these rappers, were very good at spitting out, okay, very quickly rhymes and lines of lyrics very, very, very quickly, as we know what rap is today. Okay, so have a listen to the song titled The Message. It was written by Sylvia Robinson, Ed Fletcher, and Melly Mel. Okay, and it was performed by Grandmaster Flash. Okay, go to YouTube, type in The Message by Grandmaster Flash. I will put it on our Google Classroom for you to listen to. Okay, and this song established a new trend in rap music. It's this idea of social realism, right? Bringing the real life into the music. What did people see around them and what was happening around them, especially in New York, especially in the urban city centers like Harlem and South Bronx. Okay, and they really took what was happening around them, the slums, the poverty, the middle to really low to underclass people, and put what they saw in the real world into the music itself and talked about what was happening, what they were experiencing. So, some key terms to think about and to remember in this time period. Okay, funk music, hip-hop, progressive country is really big at this time. Okay, punk rock, reggae, salsa, and I personally really like ska music because it combines the punk rock style of music with jazz. I really like that style. And here are some key people to take a listen to, especially Bob Marley, Charlie Palmieri and his brother Eddie. Grandmaster Flash is really big for that kind of punk acid jazz style of music. Okay, as well as, go through our list here, Ruben Blades, okay, for that salsa swing style of music. Okay, Sid Vicious, Sex Pistols for sure. Okay, and Willie Nelson, right, for that progressive country style of music. Willie Nelson and Waylon Jennings, they both often played together, and they have a very similar style of progressive country music, taking traditional roots of country and urban folk music, rural folk music, and bringing that into the 1970s and 1980s. Alright, folks, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead, and we will catch you on the flip side. Bye for now. Don't forget to answer this week's discussion question. I almost forgot. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. And again, don't forget to answer this week's discussion question. Bye for now.